Welcome to the eCommerce Coffee Break podcast. In today's episode, we talk about how you can use AI for your next email campaign. Joining me on the show is Daniel Budai, founder at thebudaimedia.com. So let's dive right into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of the eCommerce Coffee Break podcast. Today we want to talk about email marketing. Specifically, we want to talk about how to use AI for your next email campaign. For that, joining me on the show today as a guest is Daniel Budai. He is the founder of Budai Media, an agency helping e-commerce brands to go through retention marketing. His team has worked with over 170 companies, generating more than 81 billion in extra revenue for their clients like Stiga Sports, Eat to Explore, and Juverban. Originally trained in geology, Daniel pivoted to digital marketing in 2016, eventually launching his own agency in 2018. He is also a fellow podcast host at the eCom Show. So let's welcome Daniel to the show. Hi, Daniel. How are you today?
Hey, Klaus, and hey, everyone. I'm really happy to be here.
Let's dive into email marketing, one of my favorite topics. So why do you think that email marketing and retention marketing overall is so important for e-commerce businesses?
Yeah, great question. So I talked to, hundreds of even thousands of e-commerce owners at this point, and I can see that it's a really hard point in their business when they already have customers and probably they are on the seven-figure level. They are usually there at this stage, and they struggle to retain those existing customers. So they are really good at acquisition to get new customers, but at some point you will just you will not have new customers anymore. Everyone will, you saturate the market and all of that. So at some point you will need to retain your customers, and they really struggle with that. So that's where we come into place, and that's where we start helping these companies. So that's our focus, and that's where we call it retention marketing, not just email marketing nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Now, AI is changing a lot of things in marketing, and that applies to email marketing as well. So how is AI changing e-commerce for brands in sending emails?
Yeah, so it's super important nowadays, this question. I get this a lot. And I always say, actually, the underlying principles and strategy, it hasn't changed too much, because human psychology, it's something that it's been the same for tens of thousands of years. So, those elements, principles, they still work. And I think where AI actually help us more is operations of our marketing, and how to make things more effective, how to figure out things faster, easier, just become more efficient. And I usually have separate this into two categories, how we use AI for emails and for marketing activities. So one is the creatives. We use it for copywriting, something like ChatGPT or Jasper or these tools, or creating good design. We can even generate human faces and humans wearing the product, and those are actually not real humans, not real models. So that's one part, creatives, and the other part is data. So we can use smart AI tools and their machine learning, their pattern, they recognize patterns in the data. So we can see things like when somebody is expected to buy, when it's the most likely that this guy will buy again, or what's the best sending time of an email, or we can even predict their gender. So there are many exciting stuff, and we can use AI and data for those as well. So I would say creatives and data, these are the two big areas where things just really changed the past 2 years because of AI.
Mm-hmm. For our listeners, what would you recommend as a first step to start using AI in retention marketing?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question, because we can get really complicated here and technical. If I have to choose, I would go with copywriting at ChatGPT, and I'm pretty sure many of you already do it, or you experiment with this. But you can go to ChatGPT and tell, or just prompt to ChatGPT that I want to write a promotional email. I want to use this discount code. You can add some urgency, scarcity. What's the end date of this promotion? And ChatGPT usually does a great job to write a marketing email. And that's where I would start. And of course, we can get into the tiny details, like you want to fake the tone of voice of the founder or someone, and you want to write the email on behalf of that person. And then you can feed ChatGPT with previous emails that you already created. And then it will become better and better as the AI tool learns over time. So there are nuances, of course, and we can always improve. And that's what we do in my team with the copywriters. But I think copywriting is the area where AI just really changed everything. And I started my career as a copywriter, so I really understand it. And it's just really truly revolutionizing copywriting, I think.
I think you have what you just said. You have a huge advantage there because as a skilled copywriter, you understand the basics of copywriting, the psychology behind that. Not all of our listeners have that. Now, when it comes specifically to subject lines, because they decide if somebody's actually opened your email or not, a lot of tools now offer some AI to come up with subject lines. What's your take on there? Is that something you would use, or would you basically fine tune this or come from the side of a copywriter?
Yeah, great question. What I would do is doing both, and you can test your copywriter and AI. And actually, we also do that. So we run A/B tests, and we test out which is the better for which brand. And I would do it because every copywriter is different, and it doesn't depend on their expertise. So sometimes junior copywriters, they come up with amazing subject lines. They just have the knack for this thing, while more senior, not always. Sometimes AI can come up with a better version. So I will test hardly and frequently. And in our tests, many times AI was the winner. So we couldn't see a clear picture which one is better, So we still use both AI and human copywriters, but I wouldn't say one is better than the other option. And if you just type in, you give a prompt that I want to come up with crafty, smart, or humorous subject lines, it can come up with really good ideas that you would never think of. And the other thing is, many of us, and I think everyone, we have some creative blocks. You have a bad day or bad mood or whatever, and even if you drink 2 coffees, you are still having that block. So it's just it's a very emotional thing, right? Good copywriting. So it's just really hard to affect on some days. I really know that. And on those days, AI can really help you. So it can really help even high-level copywriters. Yeah.
Yeah, as a coffee addictive person myself, I understand that after 2 coffees and nothing is happening, I just stop working because then nothing will come out.
I agree.
So you mentioned A/B testing. I'm interested in, if you do A/B testing, how do you measure the results of your A/B test, and how do you make a decision based on that?
Yeah, great question. So it depends on the email software what you use. So we work with e-commerce clients, and we mostly use Klaviyo with 90% of our clients. And I think a high-level email tool like Klaviyo or similar tools, they does most of the job for you. But of course, you need to understand the basics. So let's say you want to send out an email to 50,000 people, and then you send variation A to half of them, and then variation B to the other half. So you send out the emails, people start opening it and then clicking it. You need to wait some time to see the results. And the email software, it shows you statistical significance, which is, I don't know how much listeners are familiar with this, but basically it tells you how certain the result is. And the golden number is 95%. If you hit that statistical significance, it means that it's very likely that if you would repeat this test again and again and again, you would get the same result. So that's why we shoot for that number. The email software measures this number for you, and it tells you if you achieve that significance already or not. And that's what we focus on. I would say we typically focus on open rate as a KPI of an A/B test, especially if we test subject lines. And if we if we A/B test something inside the email after the open, then we focus on the click-through rate of the email, because that's what the test affects the most. So we change the body copy of the email, or the images, or how many images we use and things like that. Then we focus on the click-through rate. So either open rate or click-through rate, depending on what you test. And the email software tells you what's the statistical significance. So how certain that this result is solid and you can replicate it in your other emails, basically. That's the methodology that we use for A/B tests.
Okay, no, that makes perfect sense. I want to dive a little bit into segmentation and personalization. What are common mistakes that brands make when they come to you, and how do you fix that? How does AI fix that?
So segmentation, I still trust humans more in that area, to be honest, because sometimes it can get complex, but AI can help us. For example, it can recognize who is a male, who is a female, based on their names and their email addresses. And for example, based on that, you can segment out your list. Or it can also see who is unengaged, and you can also find those people using AI. But besides, I would say it's still really a manual process, and we put time and effort into it. And the most common mistakes. So I think many brands, especially smaller businesses, they just don't segment. They just send a bulk email to everyone, same email to everyone. I think that's the number one mistake. And sometimes I can see this, that they over segment. That's more rare, but it can happen. Somebody gets too technical and they just really get lost in the tiny details. So you want to really find the 80-20 of this thing, segmentation. And I think that's where experience is important. And with my team, we work with 200 plus companies. So we really know what segments they work, what drives or what moves the needle. And we typically use engagement-based segmentation or purchase history-based segmentation. And we segment out people based on these, and they receive different emails with different copywriting.
You just mentioned you work with over 200 companies. When it comes to AI in retention marketing, is there an area where you wouldn't use AI?
Wow, I never got this question. I don't know. I would use it everywhere. I mean, yeah, I cannot see nowadays a niche or industry where I wouldn't use it. I can see email campaigns and specific email types where I wouldn't use it, because it's just more educational, and it's just better to have a real human who writes that copy or makes that email. But because of the industry, I don't think so. Maybe those industries where it's super high ticket, like some B2B commerce. We just talked to someone the other day who sell $50,000 items, and they don't have a huge list. So AI cannot really learn there much. They have a couple hundred subscribers. I think there AI, yeah, you can use it, but there is no benefit there. So maybe if you sell something super expensive, then it's less useful, I think.
Yeah, I mean, AI relies on data, and if you only have 100 people in the list, then you're probably better off to do it manually.
Yeah.
You mentioned something in the chat that you have 10 commandments of email marketing. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
What is that about?
So it's 10 commandments of email campaigns, and some of them are quite simple, or I always say it's simple but not easy for many companies, while others probably more advanced. So just going through them quickly. So number one, create an actual plan in Google Sheets, what emails you will send out the next weeks and months. Many companies, they just don't do that. They always work for the next day. Number two, segment your list properly. We just talked about it. Number three, content and sales. We usually start with 50-50%. So not just promo all the time and sales, but 50-50%. Number four would be think about your next upsell segment accordingly. Number five, consider using RFM segmentation. This is more advanced. You can look into it. It's called recency, frequency, and monetary type of segmentation. Number six, focus on your best-selling products. So don't try to sell something super new that you never sold to anyone. It usually just doesn't work out on email. Number 7, run a sales event at least once a month. For us, it was really a game changer. Even there is no holiday in that particular month, we still come up with an event. We even make up holidays like International Dogs Day, and yeah, we just send promo emails, but do it at least once a month. Number 8 would be truly consider the tone of voice of your audience. And if design sells your product, or more the copywriting sells your product. Number 9, check your engagement metrics per email provider. So in a tool like Klaviyo, you can see how Gmail users engage with your email, and then Hotmail users, Yahoo users, and you will see big differences sometimes. Number 10 would be use a third-party tool to track your deliverability. So we don't really trust these email software tools. We use a third-party software, usually Glock app. They are from the Netherlands, I think, and we use their tool to measure the inbox rate of the actual emails that we send out. So these are the 10 points, and if you really hit these 10, your email campaigns, they will really achieve great numbers. We can get 20, 30, even sometimes 40% of total revenue just from email campaigns. And they become especially important as your brand grows. You have a bigger and larger list. And once you have a bigger list, then you will just make more money every single time from these email campaigns.
Mm-hmm. It was a short masterclass in how doing email marketing, retention marketing the right way. So I hope a lot of people will listen to this more than once or read the transcription of our chat today, because there's so much golden nuggets in there. Now, you said you're working with over 200 companies. Who's your perfect customer? Are there specific industries or verticals that you work more with?
Nowadays, we really try to filter down our, those clients where we can get the best results. They are typically over $5 million per year in revenue. It doesn't mean we don't work with smaller clients, but that's the ideal for us, because they have the database, the email list. They already have enough acquired clients, and we can grow them further. And most of them, they are in the United States, Canada, and Europe or UK. And only physical e-commerce. And I would say these are the main things. And also just having the right mindset. So people who are really hungry to grow, ready to invest into growth, they want to work with professionals. We've been doing this for almost 7 years now. So I really committed to growth as well with our clients. And if anyone wants to work with us or just consult with us, feel free to reach out to me and let's talk.
Mm-hmm. What's the usual onboarding process for a new client? How does it work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if we start working together, then on day 1, I already schedule a call between the new client and our team. And there you discuss the strategy, what will happen in the first 3 months. We typically sign for 3 months with new clients. And we typically activate the first emails by day 7. So I think it's a relatively quick process. And then from that time on, basically, we always work 1 month in advance. So we schedule the emails way in advance. And we also help with SMS marketing, loyalty programs, push notifications. So we add all of these channels and not just email marketing.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier that most of your clients are already coming as Klaviyo users. But if you don't, or if somebody is not using Klaviyo yet, which I cannot think of for a reason why somebody would not do that, but are you also re-platforming them over to Klaviyo?
Yeah. Not necessarily. So now we are a Klaviyo Platinum partner and soon to be Elite, which is the highest level. But honestly, we can see some stores where it doesn't make sense or they have limitations. Klaviyo doesn't work with all e-commerce businesses. With most they do, but not with all niches. And we can help them with other platforms. So we are not a Klaviyo only agency. We work with OmniSend, or even we have MailChimp clients. So some of them, they are on different platforms, but yes, majority, they are on Klaviyo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about the pricing structure. How do you charge for your services?
Yeah, so it typically starts from 2,500 USD per month, and it really depends what value we can deliver for the client and the scope of the work. So it can be even $5,000, $10,000, whatever, but it really depends on the scope of the work, and it's a custom tailored pricing. So we always discuss it with the potential client, and then we decide together based on what we will do.
Okay, that makes sense. Before we come to the end of our coffee break today, Daniel, is there anything you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, so if you can just check out our YouTube channel. I'm really active there, and now I publish 2 videos a week. I just dropped a mini course about actually Google Ads. That's our newest service that we added. You can also find the free email marketing course there. Both of these courses are 4 hours long, so a lot of details for free. So check out my YouTube channel, and if you want, really just let's connect on social or through email, and we can talk.
Cool. I think we already had a ton of golden nuggets in this episode, and I can only imagine how much information you're giving away for free in a 4 hour long video. So I think that's like more than a masterclass. I will put the links in the show notes, so you will be just one click away for our listeners. And thanks so much for giving us an overview on how AI can help with retention marketing. And I hope a lot of people will check your site out and get in touch with you. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you. Have a great day.